So let's start. So thank you everybody for attending our webinar, where with Brent we'll be talking about new trends and features about Amazon advertising, the recent updates, what's trending, and why Amazon is moving in this direction. So before starting, I will briefly present myself and will ask Brent to do the same before getting into the Amazon trends details. So I'm Tariq, one of the co-founders and CEO of M19. M19 is a software that automates and optimizes Amazon advertising, all ad formats. We are only managing through the software ads on Amazon and heavily focusing on automation using machine learning and algorithms to streamline operations, save time, and improve ads efficiency. We have a lot of other tools that are connected to our ads solution, like analytics, profit analytics, keywords tracker, catalog watcher, etc., etc. So these components are important for the best ads management possible. Brent, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Tariq. Yeah, hi. I'm Brent. I've run AMZ Pathfinder for about 10 years now. We're an ad agency focused mostly on Amazon advertising, although we do a bit of off Amazon traffic to Amazon and a couple other small ancillary services. But we're really focused on sponsored ads and DSP and have been since middle of 2015, so a long time. We're mostly a European-based team. I myself actually live in Lyon, but I am in the United States for a couple of weeks visiting family. So I'm coming to you live from there. And yeah, what else? Just thrilled to present with you, Tariq. I mean, I've known you as one of the people in the French Amazon ecosystem. I don't know how long we've known each other, maybe 5 or 6 years now. So it's really cool to do this together. In addition to our usual discussions and about software, about the industry, about stuff. So Tariq and I would talk about these things anyway. So it's cool that we get to do it publicly. It's essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, great. So thanks. So let's move on. So during the webinar, we'll start talking about the global trends. Then we'll dig into Amazon Marketing Cloud. That is one of the biggest trends, and you will see why. Then we'll go through some practical audience targeting. So basically giving some example and use cases on how these audiences that are based on AMC can be used. And we will finish with how to get started with AMC. Just to explain people who are not already using or who are planning to use AMC and didn't do it yet, what are the next steps to get into it? Great. So I would like to start with this graph showcasing Amazon ads revenue growth that slowed down from 27% to 18% from 2023 to 2024. So this slowdown is all over the marketplaces, all over the different countries. And what kept Amazon revenue growing. So these I also used Q4 revenue extracts from Amazon, and there are a lot of posts and articles about it, showcasing that DSP and Prime TV has the highest growth contribution in terms of Amazon ads revenue generated in 2024. This showcase that Amazon is trying to avoid this slowdown in ads by doing more of the off Amazon advertising. And to be able to do more of the Amazon advertising, there is the demand side platform, the DSP. So as Amazon can leverage other placement outside Amazon website to be able to increase ads revenue. This is critical also because traffic on Amazon is in a lot of countries where Amazon already has a big penetration. The traffic is almost, I cannot assess because there are no official or I don't have the figures, traffic should be stagnating when you are already getting all the market. Traffic on Amazon is stagnating, so which means that revenue that you can generate on Amazon is stagnating. This is why they need to get off Amazon revenue. And this is the shift that we are seeing from last year towards DSP. With DSP, they can leverage the non-endemic brands that are not, for example, like banking, uh, car, car dealers, etc. So as they can get them into Amazon ads through the DSP.
Yeah, Tariq, I also use car dealerships or car companies rather as a good example of non-endemic, and insurance because those are good examples for that. But that's what we mean by non-endemic. So brands that aren't actually selling on the Amazon marketplace, like a physical product, but other things off marketplace. So yeah, I'll take this one. So the big shift that we see, especially since October of last year, is AMC, right? So AMC data is changing fundamentally how we as advertisers who have been managing client accounts and in Drake's case, building software for years now, are going to understand how to address how Amazon advertising works. This ability to create audiences is changing the game in a big way. And I mentioned since October because that's when Amazon said, "Hey, anyone that's a seller on Amazon, you don't need to be running DSP anymore. You now have access and the ability to set up AMC to get access to that." And that's the big shift that happened recently. What this means is that these audiences are created in AMC and pushed over to sponsored ads, whether it be sponsored display for audience targeting or sponsored products for audience bid manipulation and modification. And we'll touch on both those things. But in general, it's changing drastically how things work. So yeah, a lot of emphasis is going on external advertising efforts, and AMC is, not just another buzzword from Amazon. I think we all spend so much time in this ecosystem, we get used to hearing like, oh, AMS, AMC, A this, A that, because Amazon has a million acronyms. But from what we've seen so far, and it's still pretty early, uh, using AMC has actual impact on your ad efficiency, your ad spend, your ad exposure. It's not another buzzword that is in Amazon's arsenal. It actually is quite useful. So that's why we talk about it so much, and that's why we think about it so much, and we're creating audiences and such like all the time. The last point I kind of want to make on this slide, I added this the other day. It's like this conversation about Amazon, and a lot of you have had this experience. If you search on Amazon desktop, you notice that there's only one or two products that are in organic. The rest of them are ad slots, whether that be sponsored brands or sponsored products. And if you scroll, you'll start to see more ads, right? So Amazon has kind of hit their head on the ceiling of how much they can saturate the marketplace and still have customers that are satisfied to shop there. If they just filled the entire thing with ads, people would revolt and people would stop using the marketplace, and that would be obviously bad for them. So I think they've kind of hit their head there. But when we talk about retail media, that is like ads on these networks, Amazon still dominates the conversation. They're like 75% of overall retail media spend. This number I pulled is from like Mars Agency. They have like some report they put together, but basically in the US at least, it's the vast majority of retail media ad spend. Walmart is like number two by like a distant second place. They're like single digits. And then everyone else is like 1%, 2%. So basically, whatever Amazon does, whatever moves they make, these other platforms are going to try to mimic them and copy them. I mean, we see it with Walmart all the time. It's like Amazon releases a feature. Yeah, Walmart releases a feature. So same kind of cadence there. So yeah, just want to follow up with that kind of concept.
Yeah, and for we started talking a lot about AMC. For people who are not familiar with AMC, we'll get more into details and explain what it is and how to
Yeah,
use it. So don't worry, we'll explain it if you're not familiar with it. So just stick with
exactly.
us.
Cool. Yeah, so here we go. Let's explain AMC a little bit. Part two. Um, the comparison that I like to make, I think this is visual, so it makes it a bit easier, is imagine the data that we get from Amazon advertising as like a picture, like this mosaic here. I just use this as a random example. But we don't actually know what the rest of the picture looks like. We can't see what the full image is. with AMC, we're starting to get the rest of the pieces, these little tiles on the mosaic here to fill in the rest of the picture. So Amazon has left us with a lot of unanswered questions over the years with advertising. And with AMC, we're starting to piece this stuff together. A good example would be attribution, right? Amazon has long worked on what's called last touch attribution, which means whatever the last action that a shopper takes when they make a purchase is the one that gets credit. With AMC, we can start to see a more complete picture of what journey they actually took, right? That's just one analytics use case. But I love to illustrate it with this because I think it really drives home the point that we can finally see the composite image instead of just parts of it here and there and kind of guess for the other things, which is what we're left doing for the most part. And the next part, why does AMC matter now? There's four things that I really think are key. Um, Normal ads reporting by itself is not enough. We can see much more now. Like I said, the image is coming together. We're trying to ask larger business questions about lifetime value and customer path to purchase and time decay, like things like this, not just, I put in 20 euros to this campaign and I made 100 euros. Okay. I mean, that's great if you're talking about just the bottom of funnel and direct response to keywords where people are typing a specific product and then making a purchase. But how about people in the middle of the funnel, the top of the funnel? These are bigger business questions. And as the Amazon ecosystem kind of matures, we're able to start to answer these with AMC and some other tools, but really focused on AMC today. The third one, Amazon has opened it up to all advertisers. I touched on this earlier, but yeah, in October last year at Unbox, they said, okay, everybody have fun, go apply for an AMC instance and jump in there. And the one thing that really sticks out to me now, because I was at a conference in Prague just a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be at a conference tomorrow. When I talk to people at conferences, these are like big Amazon sellers, like 7-8 figure businesses, people that work at vendor companies, 1P. So few of them actually, first of all, know what AMC even is. And second of all, are actually using it effectively. So right now, if you jump in and use AMC, you're going to be someone that has a technological edge on a lot of your competitors who are probably not doing it. And that's an important piece to drive home here, because like a lot of people are just simply not doing this. Maybe they heard about it, maybe a friend told them they used it, but they haven't actually used it themselves. So that's why I think it matters now, and it's incumbent on anyone who's here. You're already educating yourself about it. So yeah, time to jump in and take advantage of it.
And plus, as you said, it's open for all advertisers and it's free. So almost free, because most of the use cases are free. Maybe use it in the DSP side, you pay an indirect fee for it. But like for analysis, understanding your audiences, what we will show you with sponsored ads boosting, all this is free. And also having these instances created for you to be used either through a software, through an agency, or directly. This is 100% free.
That's right.
So if we have to summarize AMC use cases, we can do it in 2 words. So one use case is building audiences. So creating cohorts, groups of users based on their behavior on Amazon and off Amazon, because you can also push your own data inside AMC. So the first use case is building audiences. So audience A, like heavy shopper, people that knows my brand, people that are not decided what to buy, whatever, and you make it. Then you have the analytics side. So making reports analysis to understand a behavior or something. One example that Brent gave is the time to conversion. If you want to understand for a specific product or group of product or all over your brand, how much it takes for a user to purchase a product from the first time they are exposed to one of your ads. So you can do that today with AMC. So it's either you build audiences that later you will use on DSP or on sponsored ads, or you build reports and analysis to understand where is your money going and how you can drive more sales for your brand. This is why Amazon provided, to ease the use of AMC, what they call instructional queries. It's a library So it's available on the advertising console. I will show you the section where you can find it. And so you can see it here. So in this tab, it's instruction queries. So as we said in there is the audiences use case. You have a lot of like dozens of different audiences that with a couple of clicks, you are able to build an audience using the templates that are already provided by Amazon. Brent, they will go more in details into that. Or you can have different analysis, for example, on sponsored ads or Amazon DSP or global analytics. It's the same. You have a lot of different analysis. The same. It's either one click. You just choose the date range on which you want to run the analysis, or some specific analysis where you need to input a specific campaign name or a portfolio or or an ASIN or whatever as an input of the analysis to run. The key takeaway is you have all these templates under the instructional query tab where you can build your own audiences or run your own analysis based on available templates provided by Amazon. So all this is happening on the Amazon advertising console. So you can access AMC under the measurement and reporting, Amazon Marketing Cloud. So you will see what you see here on the left if you have an instance created for you. What this is, it's basically two parts. So when you look at the most advanced usage of Amazon is the query editor, where you have access directly to the root of AMC. AMC is basically a set of data. It's file or database, depends on how you look at it. Technically speaking, these files or databases or tables will represent a type of events or data. For example, Amazon is providing the conversions, the traffic, impressions, and user events. Amazon attributed events can be conversions or even other type of events that can be defined. You have the DSP data tables. So under each line here, you will get different columns and KPIs under each one of these tables. AMC is the group of all this that is provided for your account and your brand that you can explore with this language. This language is called SQL. It's a kind of coding language to query these files and tables. The good thing is you don't need to be a data analyst or a coder and write these ugly things, these SQL queries, because the instructional queries, the templates section that I showed you before, is already created, like had already the queries that are created on your behalf for each one of the use cases. And there is also some beta running. It's not public and open yet to make these querying accessible for anyone. So not only you won't be only limited to instructional queries. There are already a lot of them, but you can create your own queries with language, like with English. You just tell it, I want you to create a query, like prompting using AI. You will be able to create queries, and Amazon is today testing that in a beta program that they told me should be open later this year for the public. It's getting more and more accessible. You
Yeah,
want to
Tariq, I
cover?
haven't tried.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
sure. I'll jump on this. I haven't tried the beta, the AI thing yet, but it sounds really promising. I mean, obviously, we've all seen what's happened with Rufus, which started off as something that looked pretty dumb, and now is like actually quite cool if you have a conversation with it on Amazon's customer facing side. Same thing is true with the creative, that we have both in
Yeah.
DSP and in like sponsored brands and sponsored display. It started off pretty poor, but in time, Amazon always does this, right? Version one's not the best, but version five starts to look pretty
Yeah.
good. And then it goes through and you're like, oh, now this is useful. Um, yeah, and it also shows that you call it SQL and I call it SQL. I think that means that you're more technical than I am, Tariq. Yeah, so basically one of the key use cases for this, and this happened at Unbox as well. October was really this watershed moment last year for AMC, is we now have the ability in sponsored products to say, okay, we're going to increase our bids for this specific subset, this specific slice, this audience that we created in AMC. That gets pushed over to the account. In my experience, it takes anywhere from 48 to 72 hours. It is not instantaneous. It takes time for Amazon's AMC platform to kind of chew through the data that you specified. And the audience itself has to be of a sufficient size. I think for a lot of them, it's like 2,000 potential targeted people or something like that. Maybe you have more information on that, Tariq, from API that you guys work with. But to my knowledge, I think it's like, a couple thousand is the minimum
Yeah.
size.
Yeah. I
Um,
recall also a couple of thousand. I don't remember the exact figure, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
because sometimes you'll create an audience and you get too specific with it. You say, "Oh, I want people from this age range and women from this age range who like this kind of product who've seen this campaign." And it's like, "Hey, sorry, we don't have enough people to create that audience for you." Try to remove one of those restrictions, and maybe you can widen that aperture a little bit so that you're able to create an audience that'll work, and then you can push it over. So yeah, this was like a big moment. Everyone's really excited about this. We're using it a ton at Pathfinder, but still, I always feel like, oh, we should be using it more. There's more accounts we should add these audience customization to. Now, what it actually looks like, yeah, here it is. I mean, I'll show you in the next slide what that looks like. But if you're inside AMC, you just go to audiences, create audience, and you can do it with an instructional query or a new query, whichever one. Um, Yeah, and then you can actually inside of the sponsored ads. Yeah, this is the one on the right there. Thanks. You can do change audience, and there's a bid adjustment feature, which most of you in the audience are probably familiar with because you've used rest of search, top of search, product page. Those like bid modifiers that Amazon added some years ago now, and a lot of people are using to try to get like top of search positions. Usually means they're more expensive but have higher click through and conversion rates. Well, just next to that, they have like an audiences tab now. In some cases, it says like new or beta. And that's where you're able to see audiences. If you've created them in AMC and you've waited that 48 hours, it's pushed them over, then you're able to click on it and say, okay, cool. Now, people that were exposed to these 5 campaigns for this campaign, I want to bid 30% more for them. That's just a common use case we might have. So I think we can go to the next one. Yeah, this is
But
an instructional query.
and you are right, Brent.
Mhm.
One for on some accounts, when you have business boost and audience boost and the placement boost, you will have 3 tabs. Here now we see only placement and audience, but there is also the business boost where you can boost on business users that are connected from an Amazon business account.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you dealing with this, Brent, in the agency, but when you have boosts for the 3 things that can be boost, you need to be very cautious about it because it will multiply between the different boosts, and you might end up to crazy bits over the overlaps on the 3. For example, if you have a boost multiplier on top of search of 200% and a boost on um, young male and on business people, which means that
Right.
young male that are connected through a business account on top of search will have 200% plus 200 times 200% times 200%. The bid will be multiplied by, I don't know, it's 8 or 9. Do the math, but you might end up with some crazy bids. So the advice is make sure you know what you are doing. If you can avoid doing multiple multipliers at once, it can be safer to not
It's a
overbid
really
in.
it's a really good point, Tariq. Yeah. So I mean, you don't want to bid infinity for someone, but at the same time, there is this notion of like what you're doing is building these audiences because you're willing to pay a higher CPC because you have a hypothesis, which you're testing by building it, that they're worth more to you. So a click from your example, like a young guy who is signed in on a business account, he's kind of the nexus of several different overlapping audiences. And okay, so maybe his click is more valuable to you. So you are willing to pay more for it, more than your competitors. But what we often do with these, let's call them like AMC campaigns, just for shorthand, is they are not the same campaigns that might have a business focus, or they might not have a focus on um, top of search. Maybe top of search is for another distinct campaign that might have similar targeting or keywords instead. That would be the approach at that point. Um, and another thing to watch out for is, are you using fixed bids or down only or up and down? Because of course that will also have an impact on what your final bid is. There's a part of me that does wish that Amazon built in a nice calculator in the interface that said, hey, just so you know, you have it 30% on this, 25 on that, 10 on this. This is your potential max bid. Remains to be
Mhm.
seen if they'll do something like that. No comment on if they want to do it or not. But yeah, that is a really good point. So watch out for those multipliers stacked on multipliers. It becomes hard. And Tariq, we can't break one of the key rules of webinar, which is never do math live.
Yeah, yeah. I tried that, they failed.
For sure.
I tried that, they failed.
Yeah.
All right, so
So could you go back one slide? I think we didn't. Do we talk about the
yeah.
instructional query? Yeah, yeah, here you go. So this is just a really simple example, right? We looked at the SQL. Uh, and that's a bit scary, right? I mean, we have someone on the team that can write that and do that, but that's one of the maybe costs that might be associated with AMC. If you don't have a team member that can do that, you'll have to find someone that can, or you can do what we mostly do, which is just use these instructional queries and these templated queries. So it's really just, a couple of form fields. You choose an advertiser. You say, am I going to make a rule-based audience? Is it going to be lookalike? So it'll try to pull from that audience you're targeting and make a larger extrapolation. Give it a name, give it a description, all easy. The complicated stuff is usually after that. So you want to say, okay, we're looking at a 60-day time window. Um, we'll set their time zone. And then in this particular one, it's audience of people that added products to cart, but ultimately didn't purchase. So these people are very far along the path to purchase, right? They're like at the cliff, right? They're just about to hit the buy button and move it out of their cart and say, okay, cool, made my order. And you can put in a row of different rows of ASINs, custom ASINs in there. And we recommend, doing ones that have a lot of traffic and enough um, visibility such that the audience will actually create. But most of the instructional queries look just this simple. And then at the top, it actually gives you some of the SQL data. Like it says shopping cart event subtype results. That's a little bit nerdy stuff that you don't have to worry about if you're just using the template. You can put that stuff in there. A good example that we use that I don't have a photo of here or a screenshot, sorry, really, but we oftentimes will say um, shoppers that were exposed to this one campaign in sponsored ads. Now let's target them and bid higher for them in this campaign. So it's almost like if they saw our sponsored brands campaign, we showed them the video perhaps, then later on when we're have another campaign underneath that, we're going to bid higher for those folks because we know that they've already seen a video of our brand, and they're more likely to be like, oh, this is something that I am interested in. I've already got some familiarity with it. You're just basically moving them down the kind of awareness, consideration, purchase funnel, and doing that inside of the auspices of your sponsored ads account. So that's just a good example of how this looks. Most of the templated queries look very similar to this. Some of them are much longer, of course, but this is like a simple example.
Yeah, the main difference is usually the last block that is optional. It's based on the type of audience you are building. It's either ASINs, campaign IDs, like other portfolios.
Keywords sometimes.
Keywords, yeah,
Yeah.
keywords. Yeah.
You can get really specific with certain keywords, like
Yeah.
people that searched a keyword and saw your ads. Now here you can bid more for them. That's one of our favorite audiences to make for DSP, for example, because it shows that they're somewhere in that kind of middle of the intent um, funnel. Cool. Okay, I think we have an example in the next one, don't we, Tariq? Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, this is I highlighted it in red to make it a bit more obvious, but this is an actual like live campaign for one of our accounts. And so, if you go into campaign, you go to that bid adjustments tab on the left. and then you'll see there's all placements, Amazon business placements, and audiences. Audiences is the one that you'll select if you've pulled over those AMC audiences. And then we have an audience there, has kind of an ugly name, but this is users that clicked sponsored ads but did not purchase. Okay, so it's just we're trying to effectively retarget people that have already spent a bit of our money by clicking on our ads, and we're going to bid a little bit more for them. And you can see we've spent like a little bit against this particular one, but I don't have the exact results on there. But we're testing this in so many accounts, and we sometimes find we can't get enough traffic on some of them. We have to increase the bid adjustment, or we have to widen the audience a little bit, make it a bit bigger, so we have more eyeballs on it. But this is really right now the cutting edge of some of this sponsored products stuff we can do with audiences for AMC.
Brent, the audiences tab is not visible for all advertisers in all campaigns, right? They need to have an AMC instance and audience created before seeing this section.
To my knowledge, yeah. Yeah, because I know there's accounts we log into that we don't have AMC either set up for yet, although we're trying to do that. We're just working our way down our whole client catalog and saying, okay, we'll make AMC for you, kind of starting with the ones that are spending the most and have the biggest use case and working our way down. But if I log into some of those clients that are smaller accounts, yeah, they don't have an audiences tab just yet because they don't have a DSP, sorry, an AMC instance connected. And we have never made since they don't, we've never made an audience and pushed it over. It just doesn't exist yet. So yes, it's entirely possible that you'll log in, you will not see that. If you have AMC, then you will know that you have that and you'll be able to create them. So, but I guess the end of this, right, Tariq, we're going to talk about actually getting access to AMC. First, we'll explain what it does. So, yeah, cool. Okay, so now we have part 3 here is like the practical audience targeting. These are things that we actually use and test, and we have a bunch of examples here. And I'll take you through. I think we have like 7 or 8, and happy to take questions about it too. I saw some questions popping off earlier. So first one, audience of shoppers who added a product to a wish list. This is something that you actually can't get anywhere else. This is some data that is kind of unique to AMC, to my knowledge. You can say someone added to cart. Okay, sure. Someone saw my product detail page. Sure. But with AMC, you can say, how about people that added it to a wish list? This is like some kind of in-between stage. Someone who's added it to a wish list is maybe not ready to check out right now, but they're somewhere in that consideration mid-funnel area, right? And there's all kinds of creative and interesting ads you could serve to that person, or you could just use sponsored products and say, this person is more valuable to us, therefore we'll spend more for it. Getting in front of them, basically.
And by the way, all the audiences that Brent will be explaining here are available in the instructional queries, so you don't need to code anything. With a couple of clicks, you will be able to create these audiences and boost over them on sponsored product or DSP.
A really good point. And you can tell Amazon's investing a lot in AMC because I remember when the instructional queries were like 5, and now I log in the dashboard and it's like you just keep scrolling. There's like so many of them. I think what they do is they just see what people are actually doing with it, and they talk to big agencies, whatever, and they just add them in as default. So it's really great. Oh, this one here, audience exposed to Amazon DSP campaigns are creative. I kind of gave this example earlier. So with DSP, you can run a lot of awareness campaigns. And the point of awareness campaigns would be like, how many high quality impressions can we get? Or how many product detail page views can we get at what percentage? Like percentage of product detail page views is like a common metric we use with DSP for top and mid funnel. So you can just build an audience and say, all right, cool. These are people that were exposed to DSP and sponsored products. Let's bid up against them. And we know that they've already seen our ads. And since it's DSP, those ads could be anything. I mean, you can make creative on DSP that has anything in it within the guidelines of Amazon, of course. But it's much more flexible with creative than it is on sponsored ads. And then you just say those people are more valuable to us. You put in the DSP campaign IDs, which is just like a string of numbers, and then you're done. It's really easy. We've used this one a lot, so love it. Audience that added 1 or more ASINs to the cart but did not purchase. Yeah, I mean, kind of self-explanatory. This is like really low funnel, and definitely love this one for us for sponsored products. Yeah. Not much else to say about that one, Tariq, unless you got anything else to add.
No. It's pretty explicit. I like it. It's simple, and you are almost sure to that these users are very valuable for you. So
Right.
for the advertising.
Just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, this
Yeah,
works really well. Like, just because you might say, "Oh, yeah, of course, I could have thought of that one." Yeah, but did you actually try it? Because it
yeah,
turns out it
yeah. I agree.
works really well. Um, oh, here's a good one. This one's a bit more nuanced. So, audience from new to brand and high value customers. There is a dashboard. I wish I could remember the name of it right now. That just came out on Amazon recently, and it shows you like the top percentile customers. Um, and there's one of the features you can do in that is say, here's the 30th percentile. So looking at all of your customers, the top 30% that are the biggest spenders, and you can build an audience against those. If you have, and this kind of depends on the product a little bit, so we should talk about this. Like, if you have a product that people buy once and then they don't come back, or maybe it's 350 euros, and they're like, okay, I got that. I don't need to buy it for 5 years because I expect it to last, 5 years. Then maybe that's not right for you. You don't want people coming back. If you have like a consumable or a food product or supplements or something like this, maybe it makes a lot of sense if you have a lot of ancillary products in your brand that someone might say, "Oh, I really like their vitamins. Maybe I'll come back and buy the protein powder." Or I really liked, I don't know, their canned cherries or something like that. Maybe I'll come back and buy the blueberries um, on grocery on Amazon, right? So that would be an example of like customers that are already buying from you a lot. The other one here is kind of different. New to brand is Amazon's way of saying these are shop you, and I believe 13 months is the duration they have now. I don't know if Tariq, if you could fact check me on that. I think it's 13 months. So
Yes,
someone that
yes,
has not
definitely.
bought from you in 13 months. Okay, good. And with AMC now, I think you have the ability to backfill like 5 years of data. So you can actually pull like a lot of that in there. Um, but yeah, so new to brand is another like valuable one. So it's that people that have really never seen you before, or if they have, it was quite a long time ago, and you can reach back out to them and like remind them of your presence on Amazon and what your brand's all about and what you offer.
This one is one of my favorite. Like the audience of customers ranked in the top percentile of total purchases. So in the instructional query, you can specify over what period of time you want to look at it. So either over last 6 months, 3 months, 12 months. So you can select your top um, 5%, 10%, or 1% of people that bought the most over a period of time. So it's basically your power buyers. So you can isolate these power buyers, and you have the option to go more aggressive, or as Brent said, you have dedicated creatives, or I'm not sure you can have uh, deals for specific audiences, Brent. Can we, is it feasible or not?
Ooh, that's a really good question. One thing I know is in DSP, if you have Amazon responsive creative, you can make
Mhm.
sure that the responsive creative shows when there's a deal or there's a coupon. So if you're running a deal or a lightning deal or a coupon and people see it in the Amazon ecosystem with DSP, they can see that it has a deal on right at that time.
Okay.
So that's possible. So you could make an audience segment and then you could target it and then you can run a deal. That's one way to do it. But if you're saying, can you target them with a specific deal? I actually don't know. I don't know the answer to that. We don't do as much like deal customization manipulation for clients. We try to partner with them when they have deals so we can amplify it with ads. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Um,
This is one of my
um,
favorite ones.
yeah.
Yeah, do you want to go?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, cool. This one I love. It's like usually our threshold is three. So, if someone on Amazon has seen your product detail page 3 times in the last like 30 days, like what are they doing? They're basically window shopping. They're coming back and going, "Oh, I don't know, it looks pretty good." And maybe they're looking at a bunch of other competitors too. This probably works better on higher priced products like we talked about earlier, something that's a couple hundred euros, couple $100. People are shopping around, but they haven't bought. And you can actually, one of the cool things about the audience creation in AMC is you can say, um, they've seen our product, but also here's a list of products if they've bought, exclude them. We don't want them in this. So if they bought my other product, if they bought those from my competitors, we don't want to address those people. They've already moved out of the market. They were shopping at one point, but now they've purchased. We don't want to talk to them. We want only the people that are kind of in between the two and who are continually window shopping. So this is a fun one. I can't say that we've deployed this in a lot of accounts, actually, just several I can think of, small ones, but yeah. Audience that click sponsored ads haven't purchased since. Yeah, I think we touched on this one earlier, but basically people that are spending your money already by clicking your ads, and you want to make sure, hey, we want to rope them back in and say, yeah, now it's time to buy. And the thing I'll accentuate with this, you can't do this as much with sponsored products. I mean, you could still make this audience and bid for it, but with DSP, you could actually have creative that tries to speak to those people distinctly. And that's one of the fun things about DSPs. You can create different kinds of creative, and it's meant to address different audiences. And so maybe there's something that will resonate with that group of people better, and then you would create it based on that.
I would have loved to have a negative bid or a stop bid on audiences like this. For example, if an audience of people that clicked more than 5 times on one of your ads, we just want to stop spending on them, like this, like the frequency cap that you have in on DSP.
Yeah.
Just to have it on sponsored ads would have been wonderful, and it's feasible. They have, if they provided a negative boost or just a stop bid on an audience, it would have been possible to achieve this type of um, advanced targeting. But unfortunately, there's only bid boosting to pay more available, not
Yeah.
to
That's one of
stop
the
or
rules of
bid less.
Amazon. It only goes up. It never goes down.
Yeah.
That along with shared negative keyword lists are probably two of my biggest requested items for Amazon, but that's a whole nother story we're not going to get into today.
But
Okay, do we have any more on this?
at least on the DSP side, you can do it. So it's more flexible.
Yes, that's true. But with we're talking, yeah, sponsored
Yeah,
products inside the
yeah,
interface. Yeah, it's unfortunate,
yeah.
but it can't be
This
done. So
this is the last audience, the brand.
okay, cool. Uh, Shoppers that search specific keywords but have not purchased. Yeah, this is one that we actually are using a lot in DSP and could definitely be used in sponsored products. But imagine that someone is in this in between zone, right? They've searched keywords, and you can say, like we've done this for a couple of big selling client products. What are the top keywords that you have great conversion rate on inside of sponsored products? Okay, cool. Here's the top 10 terms. Let's create an audience for shoppers that have searched those but haven't purchased, and then we can exclude a whole bunch of products to make sure that they didn't buy those yet. So these are people that are searching. They haven't clicked on your ad, to be clear, but they're in the market somewhere searching for a product. Then you can target them or bid up, do a bid modification against that. That's really key. This one, it doesn't always work like 100% of the time because a lot of these people are, they're mid funnel. They're not exactly decided on your product yet. But that's the whole point. You're getting in front of people that are new to your brand. So the ROAS is going to be lower, but you're gaining new customers and people that probably have never heard of you before, hopefully. Now they know who you are, they know the brand, they know what you offer. So it's great.
Do you exclude also your competitors' ASINs to make sure that they didn't buy already from competitors, right? It's not only
Yeah,
from your own catalog, from you,
exactly.
you
Exactly.
okay. But it's pretty, yeah. You need to list most of the competitors to make sure that they didn't already made the purchase.
One great thing about our clients is they know who their competitors are and they know what products are like roughly equivalent or very similar to their own. They're like, oh, we know that this brand sells like so much. Like, okay, cool. We'll take all those and exclude them. We don't want to do that because like they've already bought a product for the same price, a similar offer. We don't want to be seen to them. So I think Tariq, I think it's probably impossible to exclude all of the products out there, but if we can get like all the big sellers, all the ones that are kind of in the same BSR, yeah, we can exclude a large swath of them. So
Okay, great. So before moving to the last slide, maybe we can go through some questions, Brent, or we take it
no, let's do it. Sure, I
after.
see some popping up. Yeah, why not?
All right. So one question is, does AMC gives the first touch and last touch attribution data? So AMC gives you all the data to build even your own custom attribution that is can be multi-touch point and even with different weights of each touch point. So the answer is yes, it gives even more than that. There are templates for different attribution model, and you can get the first touch, last touch, multi-touch, touch, and I don't know, I don't remember how they call that, probabilistic attribution, whatever. So yes, you have
Mhm.
all these different attribution models that can be computed using their templates. Then we have a question from Mohsin. Great webinar, thank you. Any geofencing or geo-targeted audiences available yet?
Mm.
I I think we can infer uh, I'm not sure. Is there a column uh, for the geo in the tables, Brent? I didn't see an existing template with geofencing.
I'm pretty sure there is, but there's only one problem with that, which is that with sponsored products, there's no action you can take around that. Like there's no facility in sponsored products to say we only want to target these zip codes in America or these countries or these like states. Like you can't do anything about that. In DSP you can, but then the question becomes, what's the actual use case for that? It
No, but
becomes, yeah.
one of the use case, I think the hidden question behind the most in question is if we are able to build a geo-based audience, we can boost on this audience. For example, we can create an audience on people that have 80% of their events in an IP in Texas,
Mhm.
and we build the audience of people from Texas. And on this audience, we have a sponsored product campaign where we boost people of Texas. So it's not a filter on the IP, on the zip code, sorry, but
Mhm.
it's at least a focus and or a boost on a location that you kind of infer through AMC audiences. But there is no template that is doing it, so you will need to have someone that knows how to write SQL to do it.
It's a
What do you
really
think,
good
Brent?
question. Yeah, it's a really good question that has me a bit stumped, actually. The other thing I'll say is, which brings to mind a presentation I saw just recently, but if it's possible, another way to action this would be to look at your shipping time and estimated delivery, date and time across. So a good example is in the US, you can have products that are warehouses on the East Coast of the United States, and they might have a 3 or 4 day ship time to California. And so you would probably want to bid more for
Yeah,
people that are viewing and shopping from the East Coast because they're going to have the prime guarantee and they're going to have 24 hours or 1 day shipping, next day shipping. Someone in Arizona, which would be on the other side of the country, in a totally different, two or three time zones over, they would not get shipping that would be as fast. So they might be less likely to convert, and Amazon's not super clear about this stuff. Like you have to use third-party tools and your own kind of like manual checking to even see what the ship times are. But that would be another scenario I could see that being useful. So it's a great question.
there's another one that is fantastic. How it help us to optimize spend with a practical approach. What do you think, Brent?
Yeah, sure. Here's one idea I have. So we talked about a lot of different audience types, right? Here's a good one. Shoppers that added products to wish list. Okay, so that's actually narrowing down a lot of people to very few people, right? You're taking this huge subset of individuals and then you're making a much smaller subset. So what if you have a top keyword for a product that you have, let's say like an exact match single keyword type campaign, which is like a pretty common approach that you hear talked about a lot on Amazon. This is not like a new idea I just came up with. Everyone does this, but you're spending a lot of money per day, per week, per month on that keyword to make sure that you have enough visibility and clicks and conversions on it, even if the ACoS is high or the ROAS is poor. Um, what you could do is have a campaign where you're adding a custom audience plus that keyword. So you're comfortable to bid more against that keyword now because you know that it's backed up with this custom audience. So what you're doing is you're filtering that giant mass of people that are searching for, I don't know, blue running shoes. Okay, but how about blue running shoes specifically for people that are shoppers that have already added that to a wish list. They haven't checked out yet, but they added it to a wish list or they added it to cart. Okay, those people are ones that are worth more to you as the advertiser, so you're willing to pay more. That's a practical application that we're using right now. So that's maybe one
Uh,
example.
Presented differently, what Brent was saying is, if you have, let's say, a budget of 10 euros and you have only what you want to spend it on one keyword, blue shoes. So instead of spending 10 euros on keyword blue shoes, so you don't want to target all the users that are looking for blue shoes. You want to, instead of bidding $1 for this keyword, you will be bidding 30 cents for this keyword with a multiplier of 200% for some audiences that you think are more relevant. So you narrow down, so you are getting uh, even deeper in the funnel. For example, the users that added your product to a wish list. So it's a smaller group, and you will be bidding $1 only on this small group and 30 cents on the rest. It's a kind of narrowing down the audience that you are hitting with the same budget to expect higher returns in terms of conversions.
Well put.
Galaxy printers. There's a question. We currently have around 3 companies, each having ACOS of more than 90%. Some even have 200%. Is it normal for a new seller or for a new product on Amazon? Okay, so the question is not related uh, to the webinar, but we are happy to take it. So yes, it's it depends a lot on the competition, the quality of the listing, and yes, when the product is new, the cost of advertising is high. So I'm not surprised to see these figures. I don't know if it's good or bad, of if they need to be reduced or not. What I know is it's not sustainable and they need to be reduced over time. So the answer is yeah, we already saw these high figures in competitive markets for new products, and we saw also on poor listings. So I'm not saying that uh, your your market is very competitive or your listing is poor, but it it, it might be an explanation.
Yeah,
Can we
I
target?
agree.
Yeah,
I
go
agree.
ahead, Brent. You want to add something, Brent, on this one?
No, it's just that launching on Amazon these days can be a very expensive proposition if you just jump in with ads and you don't have any kind of external traffic or brand awareness or anything. It can be quite difficult, and you have to have a pretty, thick wallet to be able to bankroll that out the gate. So it really is about watching your conversion rate at a keyword level, figuring out how you can improve relevance and your conversion rate on the product detail page, and investing in that first stage. Now we have search query performance report. You can do a lot less guessing on what keywords are out there. We have a million tools out there. I won't name any of them just because we all know like which ones are out there that you can do keyword research with. So there's a lot less guesswork that needs to go into a launch these days. You can also tell how many units your competitors are selling per day, per week, whatever. How many do we need to get to be ranked, somewhere on the first page or somewhere relevant. So there's a lot of components that go into a launch that's beyond the scope of this for sure. But yes, I would say high ACOS is normal at the beginning.
So how to get started with AMC? It's very simple. You have two options. First one is you contact your Amazon rep and ask for an AMC instance setup. It is not guaranteed. The rules are not very clear. Uh, so I even asked a couple of days ago Amazon. So unless what is clear is if you are running DSP, it's guaranteed that you can get an AMC account. If you are spending a lot of sponsored ads without DSP, it's guaranteed that you can get an AMC account. By a lot, I mean at least 20 or 30K a month at least. So as it's guaranteed. Otherwise, it's not guaranteed that you can get it. What is guaranteed is that you can get it through a partner, either a software provider or an agency. They were nice with with us, so as we can create instances without any constraint or any advertisers that uh, is we request it uh, for on his behalf. It is now possible to even back. I think the default is you said like 12 or 13 months. It's possible now to backfill 5 years of data in AMC, which is uh, very useful for AMC. No, sorry, not AMC. Lifetime value um, analysis and computations. So to understand how just to compute lifetime value when for specific products where that get some repeat purchase over long windows of time. And finally, as we said in the beginning, so it's free. It's free. What is not free is the cost of exploitation. How how to use it and to read it. And even that, even this barrier is getting lower and lower with instructional query. The AI querying, it's not available yet publicly, but it's coming. And I'm pretty sure that even ChatGPT can help today run and debug queries if you want to do something very custom.
Yeah, I got not too much to add except the cost element. You can today get AMC set up and start doing templated queries, push them over to sponsored products, and see success with those and start to test audiences without having to write a single line of SQL code. So that is extremely possible these days, highly possible.
Yeah.
Was not the case a year ago, even 6 months ago, really. Now it is.
And for the ones who are wondering why they are providing this free, it's driving, it's obvious, it's driving more investment. The more insight and understanding you get through your advertising, long term, you are confident investing more either on sponsored ads or on DSP. So
Agreed.
it's fair and not free. You spend elsewhere.
Right. That's Amazon's bet, and obviously they have the data already, so they're just externalizing it for advertisers that are investing in the platform. Um, yeah. So that's it. Anything else, Tariq? We have here a little Q&A, maybe. Oh, and this is just the announcement that Amazon
Yeah.
made. This is available through everyone. And then I like how they put in parens there through partners.
Yes.
And partners means, yeah, companies like M19 or agencies like my own that have access to be able to say, hey, let's get more of these AMC instances set up. And one big change that's happened just since the beginning of this year is that they've made it available for the API. So I believe tools like M19 can request AMC instances be set up like en masse, so you have the ability to add them at great scale, which is great because I mean my belief is that like every one of our clients should have an AMC instance for sure. So
So yes, we have just released our first simple report that is displaying the path to conversion, like between the different ad types, like DSP, sponsored product, brand, display the different paths that are leading to conversion and what is the cost of conversion for each one of these paths. It was a first report. It's basically one of the top lists that are provided by Amazon, but we just provided a visualization on top of it and running the query automatically on behalf of the advertisers. What we will be releasing soon is for all our customers, we'll be creating automatically instances for them. Today, we create only instances for our agency customers that are using the software. We create instances for their account because they already have one kind of AMC account. But in the coming weeks, we'll be creating for all our direct customers AMC instances.
nice, sweet deal.
Yep. We have one other question. If we have one or more brands, then we can add multiple audiences into campaigns, particularly with AMC. Yes. So you can, if I understand the question, yes, you can builds audiences based on different brands or single brands that are under the same account. So you can create audiences based on that.
Yeah. But for privacy reasons, Amazon does have, I guess restrictions on like, each
Uh,
account that's a unique Seller Central account, right, should have its own distinct like AMC instance. I think, there's not overlap between them. You can't like do a join, in database speak between like different things. And part of that is because Amazon doesn't want you to be able to determine who the actual humans are behind the data. They have what's called like an aggregation threshold, right? So you have enough anonymous data to come in to make conclusions about audiences and build audiences. But that's part of Amazon's safety measures in place, basically. Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks, Tariq. This has been
yeah,
fun.
thank you everybody. And I don't know yet what's the plan, if we will be sharing the slides or the recordings. We'll let you know. Thank you everybody, and have
Thanks all.
a good day. Bye bye.